You may be familiar at this point with the fact that I live in Chattanooga, love the city, have covered things that have happened in our city in the past with transgender events that took place in restaurants, especially last year in September, of all things. Apparently, Pride Month wasn't enough. We had to also have a week of Pride celebrations in our city. Now, thankfully, those things have been outlawed for children, and we will not need to protect children from the predation of adults in that way moving forward. However, it hasn't stopped certain activist organizations from infiltrating local businesses like a branch of Volkswagen that is in Chattanooga. It's been big to the city, but Volkswagen is no stranger to woke propaganda, as you'll see in this commercial that took place back in 2020. So here's that.
They say you can't choose your family. Well, we beg to differ. Because family can be whoever or whatever you want it to be. So if there's no such thing as an average family, why drive an average family SUV?
So while it's objectively true that marriage and family look a little bit different, as they say, I do want to ask you this. What in the world does that have to do with cars exactly? What does the definition of marriage and family look like then, if it is so different that you feel as a car company you should explain it for us? We'll get to that in just a moment. But this wasn't where they stopped, of course, because in the aftermath of what just took place in Nashville, and again, Nashville is only a little less than 2 hours to the west of Chattanooga, rather than mourning the loss of these families or passing something out to these employees who perhaps may even have family out in Nashville to try to honor these families and what took place there and try to remember those people in a meaningful way. Instead, on Transgender Day of Visibility, we had Chattanooga Volkswagen pass out these handouts. Now, you'll see it on the screen here. Underneath a piece of paper, it looks like fruit snacks are there to pass out to adults for some reason, but nonetheless, on top of that fruit snack is a piece of paper, and on that paper it says this: in recognition of Transgender Day of Visibility, the LGBTQ plus Allies, ERG, will be partnering with the Employee Assistance Program. By the way, those guys have to get a better name than LGBTQ plus Allies, ERG. Anyway, a seminar, so they're offering a seminar focusing on best practices within the workplace through a gender-affirming lens will be offered April 4th from 3 to 4 p.m. in the conference center. Way to go. Now, no mention of prayers for the lost loved ones of the community in Nashville or of the families of that are feeling that pain right now. But no, rather, the irony escapes these folks that just a couple of days after this shooter killed people in Nashville and was trans, they want to talk to a group of people not far from Nashville about how hateful and intolerant they can be and how they need to be more tolerant of trans people. So in other words, a mere extortive attempt to try to get you to conform. Now, going back to our friends with the really long and ridiculous name LGBTQ plus Allies ERG, which, by the way, I suggest and want to continue to do so on the show, that we should get rid of the plus, and that we should have the whole alphabet represented, because the plus is not affirming enough. So it should be like LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, like, and go until every person is recognized. That list will reach to Mars, by the way. But a quick question for you. LGBTQ plus Allies ERG. I bet you can't guess who that company is that's partnering with Volkswagen to offer this conference and how to be more tolerant and more affirming in the workplace. Well, if you guessed that LGBTQ plus Allies ERG ad infinitum is a hospital, you would be correct. Now, isn't that interesting? A hospital is teaming up with Volkswagen to create gender-affirming environments. And I'm sure that hospital has nothing to gain, no surgeries perhaps that might line their pockets with cash, as they continue to try to invade corporations to implement their woke DEI policies. So once again, the tolerant left is at it, demanding that employees go to this optional worship service for trans people in the aftermath of this killing of children, women, and one man at Covenant Christian School. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath to wait for the Christian conference that celebrates Easter and how to become more affirming to people around Easter time, so that when they say God bless you to you, you don't give them a snide look or think that somebody just sneezed, but that you actually understand that's language meant to convey Christian love and concern. So I won't hold my breath waiting for that conference to come to VW. You know why? Because there is a cult, there is a religion in America, and it looks nothing like Christianity. So trust me, the irreligious are definitely gaining ground in this nation. But I want to take a step away from that very important fact and just ask a question that perhaps exposes why this agenda is so sadistic and wrong. And that's this. VW tells us, and is trying to affirm in the workplace this very idea that the family is much broader and more wide than you can ever expect. So please tell us, VW, what are the limits of the family? Or perhaps there are none. Maybe the way to be truly affirming is to accept and love everything, even things that are objectively immoral and gross. So does the family include pedophiles, loving children, and welcoming children that don't actually belong to them into their family so that they can marry children? What about marrying animals? Perhaps you should really develop a book, perhaps, a scripture of sorts, a holy book, to dictate to us exactly what the family should look like from the VW perspective. Or how about this? You sell cars, and we'll let pastors and people in ministry kind of develop an understanding of what the family is. So, when I say this, people say, well, we need businesses that are socially responsible out there, not just in it to make money. No, all of that's turned into something vastly different than what you expected it would be. Of course, unless you were thinking about it before you actually implemented it. Companies trying to wage war on culture in America hasn't turned into socially responsible companies. All it's turned into is powerful companies using their money and influence to extort their employees and control society. It's all become a cloak by which companies allow their evil to fly under the radar. The diversity, equity, and inclusion group has done nothing other than try to present themselves as moral leaders, while companies like Apple can force modern-day slaves to do their bidding and then make TV shows about how dangerous climate change is so they can preach to you.
Today, people get their energy from the sun.
Humans have set foot on Mars.
Cancer has been defeated. And yet for every question answered, another one appears.
Here's what you need to know about global warmings. It will all go to shit at the end of the century. We'll be dead. We'll have to miss it. But we'll be smiling in gold-plated coffins.
So the radical left that should be interested in the marginalized only seems to be worried about using companies to do their bidding for them. They seem hardly capable of actually understanding what their policies actually do to real people. So here's my exhortation to every single person that's leading a company or leading an aspect of a company. How about this? You make money, and you do so to the benefit of your employees and to the people who are stakeholders in your business. And you let pastors handle the formation of the family, since you know nothing about it. Or if you are going to wage into moral territory, let's make sure that there's open debate and open dialogue about the implications of suggesting that you get to define it while this group of people doesn't. Because, of course, how tolerant and accepting the left is, they love everyone's definition unless it disagrees with theirs. So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.